What's up, guys? Reformed Stoic here, back with another video. This one's a bit random. This is something I've covered on my stream before in passing, and this is just crossing my mind again tonight. I was thinking originally of making it prom is weird, but let's just go ahead and broaden it to school dances are weird. And after I kind of just burn out the general idea of school dances, then we'll specifically get into prom, as it is a school dance. But school dances, they're weird. Why? For me, there was never elementary school dances. This started in middle school, high school. I remember the middle school dances basically being exactly like the high school dances. So those are especially weird because you're even younger. So first of all, I would say that the further you go back in time, the less weird dances were. Because it's really like a rap music, hip-hop thing, or more rap music than hip-hop. Grinding, touchy-feely kind of dancing. It just seems like it's an absolute nightmare for neurotypical people. It seems like it's meant to like boost the ego of guys who already have an ego that's too high. No offense, girls, but and I was thinking about it. It's like there's a lot of women who probably don't feel like they have a place at a dance either. You know, my gut is to say that it's much more stressful for guys, hence the no offense, girls. I just kind of thought I'll give you my gut feeling at first. My gut reaction would be that women don't really have to do anything. They doll themselves up and they show up. But, you know, there's probably some women who aren't exactly cheerleaders and dance team, and they don't exactly feel at place there. And it's really like a prom king, prom queen popularity contest kind of a thing. And I do remember maybe there being a rule that there was no grinding. We had the high school dance, middle school dances, and then we had teen center. And if you go to teen center, it was kind of just whatever. That's where everybody goes to get nasty, I guess, in high school. And I think there were older guys going there too, out of high school. I'm not entirely sure on that. But there was supposed to be a no grinding rule. It's just kind of randomly enforced. It just kind of gives teachers an opportunity to have a power trip. But if I remember correctly, there's just kind of this like swarm of people dancing, and then you kind of get to the center of it, and people can kind of like get away with it as long as you're in the center. I had a lot of terrible times at dances myself. Man, my advice to guys on this in high school, you're probably out there trying to figure out like how to do good at a dance, or dancing tips, or how you can handle it. Man, I would just avoid it if I was you. And I look back on my life and I think about a time when like a girl asked me to a dance. That's the classic wrist control dance, where the first time I danced with her, we were kind of like, I was like grabbing her wrists, I guess, and it was awkward. She didn't want to see me for the rest of the night, and I think she had a crush on me, and that was it. That was my only chance, and I blew it. And I just think if I would have told her when she asked me to the dance, you know what, dances aren't really my thing, but maybe we can go to lunch sometime. Something like that, you know? Just basically anything other than the dance, I feel like that would have been total smooth move, and probably would have played out in my favor. So I mean, what else is there really to say about dances other than it's just, there was like a pickup culture for sure. The guys, whenever I'd ask guys who were basically chads about like why they had fun at dances and why they had success at dances, they would just say, oh bro, I just get super fucked up. And these guys would like experiment with, for them it was just all about either getting drunk or doing blow, like experimenting with drugs. They'd be like, man, I'm trying to get scissorp, I'm trying to get lean. Like, I would just always hear about these guys experimenting with drugs and just getting absolutely just drunk and high on multiple substances, but I don't think that's why they were having fun at the dance. these are the guys that the girls wanted to dance with anyway. It's so awkward, man, you know, because as a down bad guy or a struggling guy in high school, you look at what goes on in these dances. You see these guys rubbing up on these girls' butts, and you're just like, man, my life sucks. I want to be doing that. So you're kind of trying to figure out how to get that going. I would definitely recommend, if that's what you're going to try to do, you say, hey, you want to dance? And then maybe as the dance progresses, see if it could go there. I would not recommend that you walk up to a girl and just try to start grinding, man. I've tried that a couple of different times. I did that at band camp, and it was kind of funny. Like, would you go up with all your friends and do that, and then she turns around and gives you that look and then, like, walks away? That's kind of funny when you're with all your friends. This is probably something that's seen as, like, sexual harassment now. I don't even know. I feel like the dances are probably getting dirtier as time has gone on. I haven't been in a club or a dance floor and forget about it, man. Long time. Definitely not since high school. But yeah, I imagine the dances have just continued to get dirtier, and then probably just being realistic here, it's just like Chad only, and if you're some creepy dude, some like sub 5 guy or just sub Chad guy trying to grind up on a girl, man, that could be a really bad time for you. That's a one-way ticket to jail, my man. So yeah, you know, teachers are like saying grinding's not allowed, it's a power trip. They just kind of like have this big eager grin, and they put an arm between people when they're dancing, and they kind of just decide who's not allowed to grind and who is. But ultimately, people are in the middle of the swarm. It's toxic, man. And yeah, there was a hookup culture that went along with it. These guys were taking girls home from the dances, and freshman, sophomore year, high school. So I feel like I have more to say about that. I guess we can just move on to prom. I'll kind of like summarize my thoughts after I finish up with prom. But the thing about prom is like, oh my gosh. So you're supposed to like ask girls to prom in some weird way. Like, you know, you could have a shirt that says Tina prom, or like bring somebody flowers in class. There's a lot of pressure behind that. Like when you put a girl on the spot like that in front of a lot of people, she might not have the balls to say no. You know what I mean? I've heard about girls saying no before, but yeah, like they're gonna feel like a dick if they say no in front of people. So then they're like, hey, alright, great. And they're like, great, I gotta go to prom with this guy. And I can tell you, because I definitely think the first time I went to prom, my junior year, I took a girl who I don't think was really into me at all. And I think she probably felt like really uncomfortable. And as a result, like I kind of felt uncomfortable. And oh my gosh, probably one of like the top 5 most cringe moments of high school is after that prom when I tried to ask her to lunch and she like ran away. Prom is so awkward, okay? If you're not dating somebody and you don't like know for a fact that a girl's into you, I mean, basically, bro, if you're not dating and you're not like Chad, you do not want to think, I'm going to turn this girl into my girlfriend because I asked her to prom. Oh my gosh, that is just a highway to cringe, man. You come up with some goofy, creative way to ask them, a bunch of balloons and a surprise, and everybody's watching, and you got some shit-eating grin, like, you want to go to prom? And then they're like, okay, yikes. And then you go to the dinner, and then you go to the prom, and then you go to the after party. The first girl I went with, I didn't even think there was a shot for anything to happen, so I just drove her home, and it was super cringe and awkward. And then the second girl, we like drove around for hours after prom, and it's like, I can only imagine how awkward it would have been if I would have tried anything. I mean, I can't be the only guy who feels this way, man. It's just like, this video is probably not going to be that much longer. I guess I kind of just wanted to get these thoughts out there because I've mentioned it on stream a few different times, and I just thought it should be immortalized. Like, if you're not in a relationship, because you know when you're in a relationship, you just dance with the same girl the entire night. And I will say, when I had a date at prom, I actually managed to survive at prom. It wasn't prom itself that was hard for me, you know, because you're all dressed up nice, you take some pictures, you dance with the same person like all night. Both times I went, my date danced with somebody else like once, and I danced with them like the entire time. So prom itself was actually all right for me because I was dancing with the girl I went with the entire time. But when you go to a dance by yourself, that's really cringe. And then this girl asked me to a dance that one time, and that was really cringe because I guess I felt entitled to grab her wrist or something. I don't know, dude. But I feel like just most guys are not going to have fun at a dance, man. And I remember there was kind of like the nerd dudes who just like dance by themselves and they just have fun even though nobody really wants to dance with them. And I mean, I guess if that's your thing, if that's what you want to do, I would just avoid it, bro. If you're trying to like navigate high school and you have any sort of feelings about a dance, or you've already been to one dance and it was a nightmare, just stay away, bro. It's only gonna get worse. For prom, if you don't have a girlfriend, I would just say don't go to prom, man. And people are like, oh my gosh, you're gonna regret it. It's a milestone. It's such an important memory. You know, like I said, I survived during the dance itself both times, but the things leading up to it, the things after it, the rejection I faced afterwards, it's so brutal, dude. And it's just like such a bad memory. And you should avoid that stuff like the plague. And, you know, just summarizing my thoughts on this shorter video, the further you go back, the less hip-hoppy, rappy the music was. And I think it was more like, do what diddy diddy dum diddy do. Just like kind of innocent, not grinding kind of stuff, you know? Like all these kids and their hormones, and guys are just like, yeah, I wanna rub on her butt. I wanna rub on her butt. And girls are just, it's a very like primitive neurotypical thing. It is hyper neurotypical, man. If you have any sort of autism, you're just gonna have a bad time, bro. It's like this weird ritual thing where women can just smell your normie on you, and you just gotta like, you know, anybody can dress nice, anybody can look their best, and you can wear the clothes and everything, man, but you gotta get in this rhythm where it just naturally happens. And if you ain't Chad and if you ain't neurotypical, it's not gonna happen for you, dude. And you're gonna be grinding on a girl's butt. You're like, yeah, and they're gonna be like, what are you doing? I'm going to call the cops right now. And it's gonna be traumatizing. Every time I ever went to a dance, it was bad. You know, the wrist control dance, I ended up like dancing the rest of the night with like different people, and there was one girl that wanted to dance with me that was hot, and we grinded a little bit, and it was whatever. Anybody like watching this from my past, I don't want people to think I'm all like hung up on dances and, oh, she didn't date me after the prom. This isn't about being hung up on dances, man. It's just, I feel like this should be said. Like, it's just kind of like a toxic environment, you know? Like, what are people thinking? Like, what is exactly the idea behind dances? Because they're basically, what it has amounted to now is it's like a hookup pickup scene for high school chads, man. And I'm totally putting myself in a position right now to where like a literal 17-year-old football player Chad who could probably already beat me up. Some future like NFL player is like, you're a beta, bro. It's just, dances eternally suck for at least 60% of men at high school. And at best, you can survive and not look like a freak. Like at best, bro, you can go and feel like you're having a meltdown inside, and people don't realize that you're having a terrible time. You know, you can be like, oh my gosh, I'm dancing by myself. Do people realize I'm dancing by myself? Hey, I'm kind of dancing with this girl. Oh, I think I'm gonna start. Oh, and now she's walking away. Okay, let's dance over here. And you have this like internal monologue, and it's just eating you up. It's like, bro, do you want to be there? Like, what are you trying to prove? Because nobody's really going to think, yikes, this guy's never at the dances. Oh man, now that I think about it, this guy's never been at a dance. What a loser. I don't think anybody really cares if you don't go to dances, but I can't really act like I understand. I think it's like this celebration of neurotypical normie attractiveness. Like, hey, I am normal. I wear the right clothes. I do and say the right thing. Look at me go. And girls, on some level, it's like the kind of girls who go to the dances, because I feel like girls who don't belong in dances don't go, okay? There's probably going to be a lot of guys who realize that they shouldn't go by just getting freaking destroyed. But there's a lot of girls who are, they're cute and they're cheerleaders or dance team or they play sports or they're hot. And then they just go and they dance with each other and smile and hang out and oh my gosh, whatever happens, happens. And they're just there to judge men and watch men like compete with each other. And overall, like Chad is like a planet on the dance floor. Okay, Chad has like a gravitational pull and he's going to pull women's booties to his crotch. And guys are out here trying to figure out what's like the science, what's the skill, the technique to get women to grind with you. Be neurotypical, be good looking, and just understand this weird flow of how everything goes. And then, the chaperones and the teachers are doing God knows what. They're just kind of like standing there smiling, pointing like, oh, look at them. Oh, look at that guy. He's having a terrible time. He just got rejected. And then, every now and then they're like, hey, no more grinding. But, sometimes they're like watching people grind and be like, oh my gosh, I wish I was that guy. Or let's be real, some of the female teachers, oh my gosh, I wish I was that girl. And every now and then you hear about like a teacher dancing with a football player or something. And it's just like this celebration of popularity. And I think it made a lot more sense before rap music became pop music, because it's becoming a sexual thing. The music is sexual. The songs that would play is like, to the window, to the wall, that sweat dropped down my ball, skeet skeet. It's like, how are they allowed to listen to this? I always just wondered. School is so strict for the most part, but you go to the dances and it's playing all this filthy club rap, and I can only imagine what it's like today. And so I don't know. That's just like a bunch of random stuff. I feel like this video didn't come out exactly how I planned it. I should be in bed right now. I got to get up early and I'm just going to zombie mode it. My advice, guys, like I guess part of my hopes in putting this video out there is that maybe some high school guys will find this or middle school guys. If you've been to a dance and you felt awkward and your face got all red and you like faced some embarrassment, it's like, bro, don't go to dances, don't go to prom, don't ask a girl to a dance. If a girl asks you the Sadie Hawkins dance, make an excuse. If you don't want to be like dances aren't your thing, just be like, oh, you know what, I'm going on a trip that weekend. But hey, I'd love to let's do something else sometime. Okay, I'm not giving you specifics on what exactly to say, but that would absolutely work, okay? If a girl's asking you to a dance, she might like you. She wants to give you a shot, but she wants to drag you through this neurotypical ritual that you're probably going to fail, okay? Especially if you have any negative feelings about it whatsoever. So what I wish I would have said to this girl is, you know what? Dances aren't really my thing, or you know what? I'm actually going to be busy that weekend, but hey, we can go to the movies sometime. That would be fun. Or hey, let's do this. Like, dude, just don't do it. Just don't go to prom. Okay, if you have a girlfriend, take your girlfriend to prom. Okay. I'll bet there's all kinds of women that like. There's probably like a toxic rape culture behind prom, because the legend is that you always get laid on prom night, and I can only imagine how many women like got pressured into sex on prom night. And like, prom is toxic, dude. And to think that, like, what are teachers thinking about this? I remember some commentary from teachers like, "You guys are so gross on the dance floor." It's like, you're a teacher. You're in charge. Why are you saying this? You're so icky on the dance floor. It's like you should be stopping this. Please stop this. Stop all these like kids rubbing up on each other on the dance floor, man. While down bad Spurgburgers are like crying and hating themselves. And what kind of sick, sadistic, like, what is this shit? What are middle school and high school dances? Why did you do this to me? I wish I never went to a dance. One of the many things I would change if I went back to in time is I would never, ever, ever go to a dance. Now, I will say the homecoming bonfires, I have a lot of good memories about homecoming bonfires. One of my, like, brightest memories, a couple of my brightest memories is, or I don't know if brightest is the right word, but just like feel good nostalgia is when I was in 8th grade, I had a lot of older friends. And those were really interesting times. Like, I went to the homecoming bonfire when I was in 8th grade, and I felt really cool. I got up on stage and I jammed. I was playing drums, and this older guy was like playing guitar, and he's playing Tool. He's playing some like weird odd time. And he had like long hair, and he was completely ignoring me. I was like, hey, I was like trying to drum along to it. I was like, hey, dude, what time signature is this in? Or, hey, can we play something else? And he kept ignoring me. He was like a senior in high school, and I was an 8th grader. So I was getting like Tool mogged. That actually might have been my freshman year. I don't know if they pulled me up to play drums when I was in 8th grade, but I remember being there when I was in 8th grade. And then the next year, my freshman year, I saw this guy get cucked, dude. This guy invited a girl to the dance, and she was dancing with somebody else, and he was standing there like, oh no, my date's dancing with somebody else. And then they started making out. They both had big smiles, and they started making out. He's like, oh no. And we were all like watching this guy just react to the girl he brought to the dance making out with somebody else. I'm like, man, that's brutal. And little did I know, over the next couple of years, brutal things would happen to me at dances. And so this has been very frantic and maybe not quite how I planned, you guys, but it's just awful. It's just awful. Avoid it like the plague. Teachers, stop. Get some help. End it. End the chaos. Just stop getting like girls to rub their butts on Chad, and just save Spurgburger down bad guys from having to see that, having to feel like they're missing out on it. Just end it. End the chaos. That's all I have to say for now, guys. God bless.